no. Laci Korean, what are you fucking...
Here's someone we haven't
in a while.
Yeah.
By the way, she unfollowed me off Twitter finally.
Oh.
Me and her were friends for a long time, and I tried getting her into live shows. And I'm like, I want to talk pro-feminism with you, just to try and coax her. And then she unfollowed me.
No.
So in revenge, we're going to do one of her videos that she did. Chicago last year at one of the universities said, if you want a safe space, you're not going to have it here. Meaning, whatever we talk about will be, you have to listen to it. Exactly.
Even if it's an opposing opinion, you can't retreat from that.
Opinion or whatever, like anything that's a bit too risque. Mm-hmm. It's why you're heading to fucking university, is to learn about things you might not be open to yet.
And learn how to argue properly instead of just going,
where's my safe space? So she thinks that's a bad idea.
Roll this shit.
Of course.
Roll this shit.
Oh, hey babes, Laci here. It is a sweaty LA night. The perfect time to talk about trigger warnings.
What does that have to do with
that's
trigger?
the thing.
That has nothing to do with
that
trigger
triggered
warnings.
me. Sweaty LA night. I just thought about fucking sweaty people and vaginas for some reason. I thought of
sex.
That what you thought? Yeah,
I thought of sex.
I thought of sweaty vaginas.
Yes. Sweaty, like,
hot. But good sweat.
There's been a bunch of, verbal vomit about trigger warnings the past year or so. Most recently, the University of Chicago released this letter to incoming freshmen.
Why did she put the fucking thing on a slant like that? It's just bad editing. I know it's
They said, quote, our commitment to academic freedom means we don't support so-called trigger warnings. We don't cancel invited speakers because their topics might prove controversial.
Oh, wow. That sounds good.
Sounds fantastic.
Where does this video go?
Yeah.
And we don't condone the creation of intellectual safe spaces where individuals can retreat from ideas and perspectives at odds with their own.
University of Chicago!
Chicago!
Yeah!
Home of the kidnapping of that white dude.
And the Cubs. Something a little more lighter. Something happier.
Yeah, we shouldn't go too dark.
Yeah.
The problem with this statement is the same problem with a lot of critiques of trigger warnings on the internet. And that's not what a trigger warning is.
Does she always sound like she's always in about to cry mode?
Yeah, because she realized she's defeated.
It sounds like she's about to break down in tears. She's defeated, you think?
She's trying to maybe tell us that this is a trigger warning for her?
Yeah. She's like an FF-15 where you're too low level and you're trying to fight one of the secret bosses.
It is not a retreat from ideas and perspectives if it is actually being used in that way.
It is! That's the whole point of a safe space!
That's exactly why they released
what it is. Oh, it's not. But if it is being used it is being used.
That's exactly why they're using it.
Yeah, like Milo, for example, Milo Yiannopoulos, where he was fucking boot off by BLM from his speaking at like a university. That was to block a new idea done by these SJWs.
And in the name of trigger warning, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
A little bit sad. That's what it is. Let's hear her explanation. Maybe
nothing.
She'll make
nothing.
I know.
It's nothing.
I'm just being a little bit hopeful here.
You're an idiot.
I know I am. But that's nothing new.
Then the trigger warning is being misused. I first became aware of trigger warnings when I was in college, but it was not in class, it was during an internship. I was working with domestic abuse survivors at a state agency.
You became aware of trigger warnings when you were in college, the place where all of these SJWs originate from. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like
if you haven't heard of it before that, then doesn't it seem a little bit fishy? You discovered it.
You came from the source.
Yeah, you are the source, Laci.
Trigger warnings exist to give someone a little bit of a buffer before confronting them with information, graphics, whatever that may be deeply painful.
You know how much time? Leave the fucking room.
Yeah.
That's why you have the warning for R-rated. If you don't like it, leave the room.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out.
But that does not mean we should cancel speakers,
Plus,
have a safe space, have people skip class because this subject's a little bit too sensitive for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like sitting in that theater and going, no, turn off the film. I'm going to sit here.
Yeah.
I don't like what's on the screen.
And how do you think people before this SJW revolution had to deal with it? Let me think. They had to deal with it.
They had to grow up.
That's how you learn.
They had to grow up.
Oh my! So
You
she's,
deal with the real world. The real world doesn't work that way.
it doesn't work. No, not at all.
Just the fucking hint.
The moment you're out of university, you think someone's gonna trigger warn you before they say something. Go fuck yourself now.
And upsetting. They are specifically used in populations which may be experiencing higher levels of trauma to help them cope, compartmentalize, and keep moving forward.
Yes.
That's fine,
Yes.
but
Yes.
but if you keep hiding the subject away from them, they'll never learn to accept it and become okay with what. For example, I was beat by my babysitter when I was young, and that's why I have a stutter, right? You think every time I hear the word child abuse, like that's gonna trigger me? And no, you have to confront it. That's what I did, and it was painful for many years. And when I confronted it and was okay about it, now I don't care about it. I make fun of it. I make jokes about it because I confronted it. If you're gonna keep hiding away from things that make you uncomfortable, then you're not gonna fucking become a full human being. You're gonna have fucking terrible thoughts, terrible emotions through certain things because you're not confronting it.
I also worked at an agency in my past working history.
Yes,
At
you
a
did.
place with that had domestic violence and trauma and abuse. And people who have had trauma, that's the one thing they don't face. So they have to go through it, and eventually you have to face it. Now, it takes time to get there, and these trigger warnings and whatnot happen because if PTSD, something triggers you. The way we teach them is you have to remove yourself from the situation, calm yourself down, and eventually come back to it. And that whole process takes years. So that's how you do it. You don't have a little shit fit and point the finger at the other person because they say something that has triggered you and demand a safe space.
Exactly.
You work through it by yourself and over time, and then what do you have to do? You have to grow up and you have to face it. I'm not saying it, and not just saying just go, it's hard, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you have to face it. You
That's-
don't bitch about it.
Yeah, and this is coming from someone who worked at one of those places helping people.
Just say it.
That's
Just say it.
it,
I
like-
studied psychology and developmental psychology.
We have a fucking. This is why we have Chris here as well. Sure, he's Asian.
I have the knowledge in the
So
background.
it shows minority on the channel,
Yeah.
but you have the knowledge in the background of psychological development.
Yeah.
And blocking someone from triggering things is not going to help the person in the long run. In fact, it might cause more psychological damage as they get older and the worse it
Because
becomes
it'll
in their
just
brain.
build more, and they'll
It's
think that
building.
this is how they can deal with it.
Yeah.
And then they never get to the point where they address the actual issue.
Fucking, you thought our channel was just about dick jokes.
Should I just drop the mic now? Should
Yeah.
I just take it
No,
off?
no dog's right there.
Now, I think where things got a little bit more complex and thus more controversial is
Controversial? She fucked up that whole word. Sorry. Anyway.
And you have a stutter.
A stutterer just made fun of you.
when they were translated for usage in the blogosphere. Now you have online communities that want very specific trigger warnings, people talking about very specific things. I don't think it's up to me to say, oh, you know, people overuse trigger warnings or whatever. But I do think the demand for really specific trigger warnings in very general settings has been used to undermine the legitimacy and value of trigger warnings as a whole.
No, that's how it's been defined now. Because they use it like that, that's how we're defining it.
Yeah.
That's how it's been defined.
Because it's being overused in school. So you have to learn so and so and so. But Johnny, he doesn't have to because the trigger warning triggered him and he had to leave the classroom and not face his problems like a man. Or a woman. Whatever the fuck you are. It doesn't fucking matter.
Non-binary.
Yeah, non-binary. Like, Laci, what's your point? Are you trying to defend trigger warnings, saying we should have them at every fucking angle?
That's a good question.
Chicago doesn't want that because they want their students to fucking learn. Because they observe what's happening in America and not good things are happening.
Another observation worth noting is that trigger warnings are part of a broader ideology where people's experiences and people's needs are taken into account. It's more of a nurturing culture.
But we shouldn't be nurturing
We're not
people
babies.
that have to grow.
Someone who has those needs and whatnot, there's a line that you cross that you need to take care of your own shit, and then I can help nurture. What you're doing is just demanding everybody else nurture and baby you, and when you don't get what you want, then you go, nah. No, there's a line. You do your own fucking homework. Like, do something for yourself first, instead of fucking pointing the finger at everybody else for your own damn problem.
And then these trigger warnings just go from you going out of class because you were offended, right? To protests of people in school being blocked from heading. Remember the whole white people couldn't
burning
go
shit
to
down.
School, burning shit down. These trigger warnings and being a victim has evolved into devolved into us now having to deal with crybabies on the streets, bullying everyone else into believing their dumb ideology that has evolved into a toxic environment. This is why Trump won, right here.
Trigger warnings and the culture that surrounds them runs directly contradictory to hyper masculinity, where everyone's tough and we make fun of people who are weak little pussy crybabies.
We're not making fun of, rape victims or abuse victims or whatever.
No.
We're telling them that they have to face it because the world's not going to be nice.
You need to face
The
it.
world's not like university.
You need to face it. There's help. There is help out there, but you need to do some work on your own first before anyone can help. You can't just hand problems off to everybody else and expect other people to fix your problems.
And changing curriculum in university to fit these people.
Yeah.
That's that's not how it works. No.
The backlash to trigger warnings isn't necessarily sexist, but I think that it is fueled by sexism.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, for what? For
Sexism.
where? Where the what?
My
Well, hold
example
on. What
I
else did she
said
say?
was a guy. My example I said was I'm not even talking about chicks or I'm talking about just people in general. For example, again, I had abuse in my past, and sure I was triggered by child abuse stories or like being like people being angry at me.
Yeah.
But I learned to fucking deal with that in high school. I had to. That's what I had to do. It was a tough road, not gonna lie.
How is this sexism though? Where is she basing this off of? Why?
And
What else did she say? Don't tell me she stops.
They throw out racism, sex, whatever the fuck the word of the day is.
Don't tell me she stops.
Okay, I'm almost done with my very tired rant. I'm going to end on what I actually agree with the Dean on.
What we do? She just dropped the sexism point and then I don't want to talk about it. And mostly I think it's based off sexism. But whatever. I'm not gonna talk about it.
Because dealing with your emotions is a masculine trait?
No.
That's what she's saying. She said like it's very masculine.
No.
As a woman, you should be strong as well. That's the whole fucking point.
It's the same thing.
Do you want to grow or do you want to stay
doesn't matter what the fuck's
scared of
between
the
your
world?
legs.
And that's that controversial speakers, short of hate speech, should not be banned from speaking at universities.
Okay, respects. She said that. She said...
Oh yeah, everyone should be able to speak.
But because this environment of trigger warnings has happened, people are getting kicked off. Milo Yiannopoulos was almost assaulted on his fucking thing. That is happening. That's why we can't... There's always a bud that grows first. And that was the bud that grew into this disgusting plant. And that's why we have to fucking nip it at the bud.
That's ridiculous. Censorship is not the answer to social justice problems.
Oh, I'm starting to agree with her. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good. Yeah.
I am intimately familiar with this issue because I have been targeted for censorship.
If you don't want to be targeted, stop saying stupid shit.
There we go.
It's very simple.
It's so simple.
It's so simple.
Oh my God.
It's so simple. Laci, read your own comments. For the love of God.
Yo, it's disabled.
Oh,
so how could she? Fucking.
I don't know who's worse, Franny or Laci.
Okay, it's Franny for sure, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, I think Laci deep down somewhere in her SJW soul, there's a little semblance of a human being in there. Just because I used to be her friend, and I know, and she's at least saying, "Don't be censored." I get her point. You know, if you're gonna talk about rape, you might want to be like, "Hey, trigger warning, rape." Just gonna let you all know.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't not talk about these subjects and create safe spaces for people who don't want to deal with it, because that's not going to work. Universities to grow, not to be bottled in this. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of school, isn't it? The definition of education has changed completely in the past 2 years. And it sickens me. Anyway, everyone, thank you for watching. If you want to check out our podcast, put the link down there. It'll be the first one down there below. Thank you for everyone who's been subscribing and enjoying it and hitting like. I love you all, and thank you for helping this channel grow.
Keep watching.
We're gonna keep bashing one dummy, one piece of garbage at a time. That's our fucking job here. Peace.